Juan Carlos?
Sorry. Yes. Sorry for the noise. I am going to go to my parents' house as normal. I go weekends and I spend weekends there, and that's it. Everything normal. And I'll pass to Ivy.
Thanks, Juan. My plans for the weekend, just to relax and play frisbee. I started playing frisbee the other day. I made some new friends here in the island, so yeah, just gonna do some practice on that. And I pass it to Mount Manu.
Hey guys, what is the question?
We're just explaining what are our plans for the weekend here.
Plans for the weekend. I don't have any plans for the weekend. I think I'm just gonna read, write, meditate, and be with my family. My sister just arrived from New York, so yeah, be with my family, study. Yeah, that's it. And I'll pass it to, I don't know, Jeff. I think maybe Griff.
My plan for the weekend is I'm going to. I try to take Saturdays off. No, I don't have to on. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I haven't actually gotten that far, but I do know I'm going to be proposing a lot of. I don't have. I'm sure Basically, on Saturday, I'm like, oh, hi, oh yeah, that's right. I have a girlfriend. Oh yeah, what do you want to do? Like, oh yeah, you already have plans. Thank God. And then we just go hang out and do something. I'll pass it.
You have a mission. You have a mission, Griff.
yeah, exactly. And supposedly I'm supposed to take days off, and this is what people say. So try. I do what I'm told.
You also have a mission to turn that light off.
Oh, I found the switch. It was under the.
You did?
All
right, there you go.
Yeah. But it's 7 a.m. here, and it's not my first meeting, so I needed before. But I'll pass it to Chewy.
Thank you, Griff. For this weekend, I plan on just finish moving to Mexico City, and yeah, I just really want to like walk my dog with my swag. My swag is here. I'll pass it to Livy.
I'm gonna try to walk around this weekend. Things are open finally, like starting to open, so it feels good to go outside and just see the architecture here in Sao Paulo. It's actually really amazing. So I like to just go around and look at buildings. And I'll pass to Sean.
Sean has gone. Marco and Septimus are the ones missing. So just go ahead, Marco.
Thanks, Santi. Plans for the weekend. I'll be spending the whole weekend in the woods on a ranch, doing all the stuff that you have to do there, mowing, repairing, building, destroying, whatever. So yeah, it'll be like 2 days. Whole family and friends will come and help us along. It's a little community space there that we're building. So yeah, we're gonna probably have fun. It's gonna be exhausting, but the physical work is needed. It's good for our brains. So yeah, I'll spend those 2 days over there. And Zepti, what are you gonna do?
I feel my connection is a bit bad, but I'm trying. I'll be like Saturday. I don't have nothing planned, but on On Sunday, we will go on a natural reserve with a friend of mine. Yeah, the mountain, walking all day. Like the worst part is I have to wake 6 a.m. morning, which I don't like to. I don't like to wake up so early. But yeah, it will be super fun. Back to you, Santi.
All right, great. Okay, we can just jump into the in proposal. I'll share that with you guys. Proposal terms. Go into the Google Doc and share my screen. Let me know if you see my screen.
I see it.
Okay. I just
I don't know about you guys, but I lost Santi.
am I back?
I heard you for a second, Santi.
Yeah, sound is very choppy. I can see the screen, but it's lagging.
Let's turn my video. Maybe it works better. Better now?
I see the document, but it's a little. Oh, there we go. Close the stream.
I can try to share my screen, but I hope it won't happen the same thing that happened last week.
We'll give it a shot, Juan. Hey, it looks like better than last week. I can see the document. It doesn't look cloudy or out of focus. So here's the update. Subject to editing, I think I finished this week and added everything that needs to be added. I even started going back to clean up some of the language. I just started cleaning up the language, but I think we hit everything. One, if you could start scrolling down a little bit. These are terms we've gone over before: service description, proposal creator. We've talked about, we're not exactly sure if when a proposer needs to do it on Discord or the forum, exactly what the link will look like, clicking new proposal. I'm assuming it's going to end up looking a lot like Hatcher does right now, but I could be wrong, or there could be plans for it to be different. I don't think I've seen a link for what the DAP will look like. So if anyone has a link and wants to send it to me, I can start filling that out, and fill out these sections that are highlighted right here. But otherwise, that just seems to be pending kind of the final form of the DAO. We can keep scrolling down one. Here we talked about signaling proposals, and pursuant to our discussions on this, signaling is going to happen off-chain, except for the abstain proposal, which will have to obviously be on-chain. We can keep scrolling. This is the section on proposing, and this is what I think we're going to see in terms of attributes: a fee to create a proposal, a period of time for which the community can vote on a proposal, a delayed execution of any proposal to pass so that any ADR mechanisms can work, whether that's gravity, which is obviously off chain, or if it needs to get elevated to Celeste. I highlighted anything else if people want to suggest any other attributes of what the proposal is going to look like. I could say, I mean, obviously there needs to probably be a link to the forum discussion on the proposal. But if there's anything else, just feel free to put it in a comment. And as I go through the document this week, I will get it in. We can keep scrolling down. This is the community pledge. Obviously, as Griff pointed out, it would need to be voted on, and it can't really get voted on until Celeste is deployed. Speaking of, Celeste is deployed on OneHive, but they had a little bit of. They did their first vote. Someone asked for money from OneHive for, just basically just asking for money, and they disputed it. And that seemed to work fine, but a lot of people that signed up to use Celeste were having a hard time. And so there were some Bright ID issues, and I think they got that all solved out this week. So it looks like Celeste is like alive and ready to go. But this is the community pledge, which is similar to what OneHive uses. I think we've gone over this in weeks past. So we can keep scrolling down. Here, our standards, we've gone through this. We can keep scrolling down one. This is all stuff we've gone over in the past. On-chain enforcement, we've talked about. The stuff that's highlighted is just stuff we don't know yet. So whether or not we'll have to stake TEC or wrapped XDAI, I don't think has been decided yet. I mean, yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen there. So that's highlighted, but again, as we get kind of closer, we'll be able to fill that stuff out. It's kind of similar to our Hatcher terms, where I think we had a fair amount of terms that just hadn't been built out yet because the parameters weren't decided. This is, we can keep scrolling down, a bit of a discussion on off-chain enforcement. And again, I think there's the discussion on gravity, obviously. Going into requirements for proposal, obviously the form links, we don't want them to be malicious, align with the values. And again, that's more of a reiteration of what was discussed above, but it probably bears a little bit of repeating. The proposal recipient and distribution of funds. So if a proposal passes and there's no dispute whether it's through gravity or Celeste, or there's Celeste appeals, which my understanding of Celeste appeals is they can just keep on going. They just become more and more basically expensive to do. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. But at some point, it gets solved. Either the proposal gets pulled or the proposal moves forward. At which point, the smart contract is just going to distribute the money to the proposer, or to whomever the proposer says to distribute money to. I suppose you could create a proposal that says, I could create a proposal that says give Juan X number of TEC tokens, and if that's the case, then the smart contract just executes that way. It's not going to give it to me to give to Juan. We can keep scrolling down. So that's really, so everything up to this point is really the substantive stuff, 90% the substantive stuff of this document. Everything that kind of continues on from here, I would describe as, kind of standard contract discussions about what TEC is not. We've gone over this before. I think last week we talked about payment gateways, payment processors. We're not a broker, we're not a charity, we're not a financial institution, and we're not a creditor. We can keep scrolling down through that one. But this is really the beginning of a lot of the just standard legal stuff you'd see in any document. Juan, can we scroll down?
Okay.
No, I'm sure you did. I just still see TEC as a platform.
Oh, I am in the end of the document.
Oh yeah, you scrolled and then the screen I see did not scroll.
Okay. Yeah. I went into prohibited conduct. I am now in prohibited conduct.
I don't doubt that whatsoever that you did it.
Sorry. Maybe I will refresh. Because yeah, I just highlighted it. Can you see it?
For me, I still see TEC as a platform. We are not a payment gateway.
Okay, sorry. I will.
It's not uploading to me, but I don't have the best internet connection today.
Yeah, it's still giving those two blue boxes spinning.
Oh, it's last week all over again. I have to learn how to do this on my iPad and how to share a screen on the iPad.
Yeah, try leaving and coming back, Juan. Like try hanging up and coming back, because that usually fixes it. But oh wow, now one is just straight up frozen.
Yeah.
I can try to share too.
Let
Just
me
one
see
second.
if you're seeing mine now. You guys see my screen?
I see some ones that looks like they're in Discord.
I just shared mine too.
Oh yeah, you can scroll down. Excellent.
Yeah,
Who's it?
I think it's
I
Santi.
can
Whoa,
see Libby's.
Oh, you're
Just go with Libby. Just go with Libby. I closed mine.
Yep. Okay, we can keep scrolling down, Libby. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Don't be sorry, Juan. Community pledge we talked about. We can keep scrolling. Yes, keep scrolling. And so let's we can stop here. So we've talked about the tax issue, data retention, the fact we can't control the third parties on which we hold discussions, whether that's GitHub, Gitbook, the forum, Discord. And so a lot of these clauses at the end here are just indemnity and releases. How strong they'd be when applied multi-jurisdictionally is just not clear, but it never hurts to tell people, look, you're interacting, we're not making any warranties or promises about how things work. No one's going to be held responsible for anything that does happen. In other words, if something were to go wrong, it's just nobody's fault. It's just the way life is. Liv, we can keep scrolling down out of indemnity and warranties. Limitations on liabilities. This is just kind of standard clause saying, where no one in the TEC or the TEC community is responsible for any damages that happen from anything that go wrong. This last section, disputes, this is probably the last substantive discussion, and I go into probably a little bit. I think Juan added the section on gravity, and I added a little bit more stuff about Celeste here. But it just gives a sort of longer discussion about what Celeste is, that it's on chain, how appeals are taken, but tries to explain it without going into too much technical detail. And then this last section is something we've talked about with Griff before, where at present, I'm not aware of DAOs being able to make copyright claims because I'm not aware of DAOs being able to say they really own anything. And since the code is going to be open, well, my understanding is the code is going to be open sourced, someone can basically fork TEC. Fine. I think the clause here though is really saying, hey, look, to the extent possible, don't defraud people. There's a difference between saying, hey, look, we think we can do a better version of TEC. I don't think anyone's going to stop anyone from trying to do that. I don't think anyone could try to stop anyone from doing that. But you shouldn't create a TEC site that looks like TEC and then fraudulently basically get people to participate in a smart contract that they actually think is TEC, but it's not actually TEC. What remedies would be available if that were to happen? I have no idea. Maybe you could do it in Celeste and figure out something to do. Basically just like attack every proposal and try to get the word out. If they used Celeste even. But that's it. That's the end of the document. That is everything that I thought would conceivably need to go in here. I'm not saying there isn't more that could go in here. And if anyone has any suggestions, I'm listening. But that's it. About 10 pages of legal stuff, repeated sometimes ad nauseum and multiple times. But that's it.
That's so cool.
Well,
Great work.
First of all, I want to give a great, big, huge thanks to Sean for this incredible work on the past weeks. It's been amazing, and I really appreciate all your help on our work here.
I hope it's good. You know, we won't know until it starts getting, until we go live. And hopefully none of this stuff really ever matters because no one's going to be a jerk. So.
Okay.
This I thought this of the trademark was a very interesting example. I got curious if the TEC is considered like a brand, or like, yeah, how to prevent people from creating something a scam of the TEC.
The challenge is that to get a site taken down, you generally have to have a legal entity that owns a trademark. And so the process for most DAOs to interface with these sorts of things is to have a service provider that owns a trademark that works for the DAO. So someone starts a little company, the DAO throws them, $200 or $1,000 or something to own the trademark, and then if anything comes up, they're a trusted third party that can be like, we own the trademark for the TEC, and this website needs to be taken down, Google, and then Google's like, oh, okay, you own the trademark, we do what we're told.
Yeah, and the Wyoming law that just came out, my understanding is that they're going to provide the ability to do basically what Griff described, but to formalize it legally. Because my understanding is that Governor DAO is seeking to be approved, and they have the LLC and a DAO, kind of both these entities. And the LLC entity owns the trademarks and the copyright, and I don't know if they're open sourced or not, but either way, if they weren't, they would own the software behind it. And my understanding is that Governor DAO thinks once they get approved by Wyoming that the LLC is going to go away. It's going to get submerged by the DAO. Which to me suggests that they think the DAO is going to be able to enforce these things. But we don't really know yet until we see someone do it, what exactly it's going to look like. Because historically, it's usually a company owns it. right? Coca-Cola owns their trademark. And then in order to protect that trademark, they have to go and enforce stuff all the time. So they sue the smallest companies that manufacture or produce Coke products without a license to do so. Because the only way to protect a trademark is to actively protect it. So you can't just let people steal your trademark for years and years and then decide to enforce it. Courts are going to say, you didn't try to enforce it previously, so it kind of just entered public domain. At some point we call things Kleenex, even though that's a company name, but it's now just how we refer to, tissues. People say Xerox to make copies, but that was a company, that was their trademark, but it just entered the public lexicon. So you kind of have to get out there all the time and fight for those trademarks, or you risk losing them. But how a DAO will do that, I don't know. How an open source DAO does it, where there's just some things you don't really care if other people copy and some things you do, we'll have to see. Wyoming will probably give us a couple of examples because a few crypto companies are already moving there, so we'll see. And when a few DAOs are already trying to get legal protection there, so we'll see what happens with the trademark and software and who owns it and how do you enforce it. Any questions? Anything people think I need to add or go over or expand or?
Not really here. Not on this document. I was gonna ask if I don't know, Griff, if you think there's any other legal document that we should start working on, or at least taking a look or thinking of.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, hopefully in a week or two, well, it'll be more like things will start to emerge, and we'll have to, we have a lot of open threads that just need the parameters, for instance, to be finalized, and then they get filled in, and then we probably do some polishing. But honestly, I feel like legal is so far ahead of the game. Yeah, I really can't think of anything else that we need to work on.
I would like to start standardizing some of the, like, we need to probably know exactly what needs to be filled in other than going to every legal document. So like the hatch terms that are not finalized yet, the terms here that aren't finalized, the TEC forum, which I think operates with, I think as that Letty pointed out a week or two ago, has different legal discussions there. I know it's kind of like, it's not creating stuff, but it is kind of formalizing and standardizing stuff across multiple platforms here. We may want to do that. Because
no, totally. And GitHub, and Telegram, and just like go across them all and make sure they all have the same thing. We were working on that a long time ago, where there was like an issue for every platform.
Right.
And it's like, here are all the terms. We need Legal, Gravity, and SoftGov all to kind of give it a check and a go. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I was just thinking the DAO, but what is the contributor agreement for GitHub?
Yeah. And so all that's, I'll start looking this week and start kind of pulling together because part of it is obviously my drafting, right? Because something I drafted a month ago or 2 months ago is probably going to not sound as confident about some of the things as I may sound today. Like if I talked about Celeste a month ago, I just don't think I would talk about it as well as I think I can talk about it today, which is still not probably that good, but better than it was. So I would like to go through those previous documents and start making
Maybe
sure
one. Maybe one contribution. I don't know if that information from Libby and from Con would be creation of all the third-party services that we are using, like GitHub, the forum, Google. I don't know where the web page is hosted, any single service that we're using, and decide if we need terms or not, and if we do, just try to standardize the terms for all of them. Where could we get that information from?
I think we just need to make a list.
Okay.
I can make a list and share it with you, Livy, and then you just let me know if I'm missing stuff. I think I have a decent grasp of most of this, of all the different sites we use, but I'll send you a list and you let me know.
Yeah, because we have
maybe
quite
we
a few
can
of them. We have Miro, we have several of them that we're using, and there's a lot of information. I just think on the Miro boards, there's a huge amount of information there.
Well, we probably want to control the scope. I mean, like, we use Google Docs and Google Sheets, we use Miro boards, but is there, like, what are we worried about? You know, like, is there a risk, or is there some sort of legal consideration that needs to be made for Miro boards? You know, like,
the only thing I would say is it may be worth pointing out that we don't control those third-party sites, so that people's contributions there, if they decide, if one of those companies decide, if Discord decides they're done hosting anything related to crypto, and they just go through and just erase it, and people get mad at us, then we seem to be able to say, well, look, you were told we don't control that stuff.
Well, I don't know if it's I see where you're going, Sean. I don't know if this should be discussed right now here, but I remember from Jake last week mentioning that we were not allowed to use all the memes that he had done in the past. I don't know. We should at least write some kind of agreement or term where everything that anyone on the DAO posts on any of those third party that we don't control, it's beyond us, or something like that.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it and see, because that's an interesting problem.
Well, we don't control to be on us, but there is still like the code of conduct of the community. How do we relate with each other? And it's not just because it's in a third party tool that we don't want to be like respectful and this and that, and follow like how we're dealing with it.
and this is why it's so important to have Gravity and SoftGov and legal all in the same place, because legal is to protect our ass, right? So like, but then SoftGov is like, hey, let's soften it a little bit. Like, okay, yeah, you know what? If we use your meme, you can't sue us. Like, sorry, we have terms. You posted in the Discord that is now, fair use for our DAO. But of course, if you say you don't want us to do it, we love you, so we're not going to do it. Like, we should try to play both sides on this kind.
Well, and I get the phrase, but I would probably argue that you're not really even playing both sides. It's you obviously want to protect yourself so that someone can't come back and say, if I decide, hey, look, all these documents I created for TEC, that I'm actually the owner of them because the DAO doesn't own them and never said it did. Therefore, if you guys use my documents, you have to give me XYZ. But the fact that TEC may use versions of soft governance to try to mediate that situation before it becomes more problematic is not an either or. It's just the community has decided this is how we want to do things and treat each other, and part of that is reaching out, whether it's through gravitons or whatever, and saying, hey Sean, how can we fix this, and try to find a solution beforehand. I just think that's good conflict resolution, as opposed to saying, well, it's either we fix it nicely or we go to war. Like, I don't think it has to be thought. It doesn't have to be thought of that way. It's just a kind of a stepped process of, yeah, obviously at the very last step, there's people go, who owns a meme? And then if you change a meme, have you now transformed the art in such a way as to be allowed to use it? Who knows? And so that's what I'd say. But I think all those things are true, where like weird things are going to pop up in a DAO where someone says, "Hey, look, I did stuff, and now I don't want that stuff to be used." How do you handle that? But other than that, I'll start going through that stuff, and try to standardize across platforms. I'll talk with Livy about all the different places kind of documents are, and maybe even some language somewhere that says, hey, you understand that if you contribute here, people are going to use the stuff you contribute, and you understand that, and maybe there'll even be a sentence that says, hey, look, but we would try to rather work with you rather than just say it's not yours once you type something in. So
Yeah, we can also go. I think it's a good moment to go through the list of agreements we have that we made a while ago and revisit all of them now that there's all of the stuff around proposals. Yeah, is that
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, we all know we are open source, and everyone is, if you create a meme on Discord, even if you don't have admin powers, you can just delete them. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, but I agree. It's good to, leave everything clear, because you never know how someone may react in the one's head is their own head, and you just don't know. So the clearer we are, the better for everyone, and that's what I think.
yeah, and even if it's just a sentence or two, it's something to point to and say, hey, look, this is how we want to address stuff like this. I don't know if you guys saw, I don't know if you've ever seen the disaster meme girl, the little girl that's standing in front of the fire with the big smile on her face. She's trying to create an NFT of that meme so that she can basically get paid for something that she never, her dad took that photo and it just entered, the zeitgeist. And, it's not like you ever get paid just because you became a meme, but she's trying to create an NFT of it.
She sold it.
She
like-
did. Oh, she already did.
500K.
Good for her. That's not bad for a meme. I mean, I don't know what the market is for memes, but $500,000 for not bad. So people can go back and do stuff like
Get a
that.
hatcher.
I remember there is this thing that is like hermeneutics, and it's like the way we all interpretate things differently, and like that happens a lot with art and with writings, that sometimes when you write something and you leave it like to the public, the interpretation that the other people do is like you cannot control that. And in the same way, like it's so difficult to track, but yeah, the idea of the NFT is great for the first one who created the meme, but like it's something that it's out of control, and when you create something and you leave it in the internet, it's like the internet has its own flow, and sometimes you cannot like control what happens with what you create.
There's a literary theory called the death of the author that says an artist may create something, whether it's a book or a piece of art or whatever, and it goes out into the world and people see it completely different than the way the artist sees it. And which one is true? And the answer is it probably doesn't really matter, right? I mean, art is just whatever you, the observer, thinks it is. But you're right. I mean, stuff kind of goes out into the world and just gets reinterpreted. And there is this kind of constant tension between, what the creator thought and what the people that end up ultimately using it are. But I guess we'll see. I haven't heard of anyone ever suing about a meme before, but we'll see. But at some point, when pictures kind of get out there, I always love those articles, like where are the memes now, like where those people are. And I love reading them because some of these pictures are so old now, they're 10, 15 years old. These people are adults now, all these, the funny high school yearbook photo or whatever. But yeah, I think you're right, Santi, that obviously there's some issue about creation with a DAO and people's ability and to control that stuff. And I'll put something somewhere. It makes sense probably in this document to say, hey, your contributions on third-party websites are there. You may have the ability to delete it, and you're welcome to. And that the community would basically always try to work stuff out with the community members, something to that effect.
Great. I don't know if there's anything else anyone wants to add here. If not, maybe we can close it earlier today, and we can start working on that list and leave the document just open for the final params to be discussed and voted, and include them as soon as we have them to get the documents finished.
Cool. And I would just encourage everyone, if they want, the Hatch config dashboard just got released with its final version, hopefully, assuming it passes user acceptance testing, which I think it will. I think it's much easier to use now. So if you want to propose parameters today, give it a shot. And we have parameters, Hatch param party at 3 p.m. West Coast time. So pretty late for Europe, midnight for Europe, but if you're not in Europe, you should come. It'll be fun.
Is the same link, Griff?
Yeah, same link, just some different structures. Basically, instead of impact hour slope, now you can just move that red target around, and put it where you want. So that makes things a little easier.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.